What's up, everybody? It's Pat Voss again, and welcome to another great JCT official interview. This is the fight week, and I do mean the, because it is the biggest fight in combat sports history this Saturday, August 26, 2017, at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Floyd Money Mayweather, or Floyd the Choke Mayweather, is going against the notorious Conor McGregor in a boxing match by Queensberry rules. But I've got a great guest today. I'm joined by Matt the Axe Brax. He is a two-time mixed martial arts champion, and he is also the creator of the fighter training set. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing good. You know, they should pay you for advertising, the UFC, and, you know, because I should be too, you know.
Hey,
training set out there and everything. Appreciate that.
No problem, man. As McGregor said early on in his career, Dana, 60 G's.
Yeah.
Where's my money? I'm promoting you guys. But anyways, thank you for coming back on. It's been a little while since we've had you on here. And now that I'm running the new channel, I'm trying to run a straight channel of like an interview channel. No more, in-betweens. If I do in-betweens, I'm going to have it a panel discussion. So for right now, JCT Official has grown quite a bit. Yesterday, we had on Coach John Cavanaugh, Conor McGregor's coach, that had a few views. Not an amazing number of views, but a few views already. So I was very happy to do that. But for you, for the fighter training set, what is it that you do? What are you trying to implement with that?
Well, with the fighter training set, it's a 3-step system that will enhance your training. Or if you don't really know much, it'll teach you, the basics of fighting. It comes with an access portal that basically has a ton of videos by professional fighters that go into not only punches, kicks, elbows, but submissions, wrestling, and just the overall glue of MMA. It saves everyone a bunch of time in trying to figure out the sport. I've been doing this since I was, 16, 17, something like that. And I'm, 29 now. So I just spilled out all of my information, put it into the set, came out with some really cool training equipment to go with it. And, that's the fighter training set.
I appreciate it. I was actually thinking about grabbing one off you because regardless of whether or not and sorry about the camera shakiness, I accidentally hit the table here, but I was thinking for people that not just have like an MMA background or that would like to learn, different styles and striking techniques for mixed martial arts. But as far as even like a training program to get in shape, to stay in shape, to keep moving, that I see that also as a big plus and a big positive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't think a lot of people would see that like in that. I think they need to understand, what you're creating and what you're in essence selling is, look, stay in shape. And if you're in the mindset of I want to either I'm learning mixed martial arts or I already belong to a gym or whatever it is, pick up that set, guys. It is the fighter training set by Matt the Axe Brax. And like I said, 2-time mixed martial arts champion. This guy is great. Record only 1 loss on the record. That's amazing to have early on in your career and to keep going. And I wish you a lot of success in the coming months when things pick back up again.
I appreciate that. I do.
Now, what we're going to get into is the conversation that a lot of people are obviously torn between, and that's the Maymac fight, the Mayweather-McGregor fight on August 26th, this Saturday. I have to start this by saying, or by asking rather, who are you picking? And I don't want to say why, but just let's start off, who are you picking? And we'll start from there.
Sure. That's so that's kind of a tricky question because you can come from either the betting odds or you can come from the one-on-one. Betting odds, if I had to put money on it, McGregor. I put money on McGregor just because the odds are way better and it's a fight. You know what I'm saying? So you got to calculate in. Okay, here's the skill. But you also got to calculate in, okay, here's the return. So there's that side, and then there's the okay, all right, so let's just say 1-on-1, not 11-1 betting odds, just 1-1. Who would you put your money on? I would say Mayweather.
And that's just because it is in box. Is it because of what everybody else says, where it's just in the boxing ring and the boxing realm? Because obviously everybody knows, and this is the one thing that I think I keep trying to bring to the forefront of the conversation is, if we already know, why would you bet? Not you personally, but other people I've talked to. Why would you bet on Mayweather now, even though he is in his own realm in boxing? If you already know that Conor McGregor could have a chance, and we already know what happens in an octagon if those two meet, I think you kind of have to give it to Conor in this as if you're not an underdog, if you don't like rooting for underdogs or whatever the thing is, whatever the situation is there, I completely understand. But for Conor, who is a striker by nature, I think he's a little too strong for Floyd. I don't think it has anything to do with youth. I think it's it's intelligence is what it is. It's not youth, it's intelligence over Mayweather, regardless of how defensive a boxer he is. I truly believe anybody putting a bet on Mayweather is going to be sadly disappointed on August 26th, because as they say, Mayweather learns his opponent and takes time to figure his opponent out in a quicker amount of time. I truly believe McGregor figures Floyd out. I really do. I think he's just got the IQ, the fight IQ, to figure him out faster. And when he does, that is basically, in my mind, the end of the fight. Because once he's figured out and he doesn't have Conor's awkward style of what he's going to be approaching or the aggression that he's going to be approaching with, I think it's over. And I think Mayweather, unfortunately, at his age and at his actual fight IQ, not his boxing defense, but his fight IQ, I think has diminished over the years. And now that he's 40, it's about time to relinquish that crown to the next combat sports icon, which is Conor McGregor.
There's no doubt that he is the new sports icon for sure. He's everywhere. He is. And, everyone wants to be like him and wants to, fight like him and wants to even fight him. You know what I'm saying? He's the money fight, right? He said it himself. So, that being said, it is a really cool fight. It's a really cool fight because you've got this guy over here who just came into the sport, dominated the sport, entertained the sport, and like you said, he took over the sport. Then you've got this other guy, who's been around. He's what, 50 fights in or something like that, undefeated, and he's proven that he knows what he's doing. He's capable. He's gone against bigger fighters like McGregor, and they've hit nothing but air. You know what I'm saying? Because Mayweather is this very elusive style of fighter. He's very elusive. He stays very close to the center line of where he's fighting, right? Just like this. And you can do that in boxing. But with MMA, it's a little bit different. It's the same thing. You want to stay just as close as you can to the attack without being hit. However, you've got to not only worry about these punches, but you have to worry about these kicks. You got to worry about these takedowns. So you're moving a lot more for that takedown defense, for that kick that's coming, right? These different things. Whereas, boxing, you've got to worry about these hands, right? So you can be here, 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 here. And so that's something that Mayweather has down, right? But you got somebody like McGregor who is, if you ask me what type of fighter McGregor is, he's a boxer. I think he's a boxer. He's just got all of these other skills behind him, So you've got this guy who's got all of this skill in martial arts, mixed martial arts, and you've got this guy with all his skills of just punching, right? So you've got these two different side of things. And this guy over here who's got the boxing skills has incredible amount of skill in the ring. He knows what he's doing. He's got an IQ of boxing, but then you've got this guy over here as a mixed martial artist. And the difference is boxing IQ is different than MMA IQ because there's a lot more things that go into it, which gives McGregor the disadvantage when it comes to boxing IQ. But here's the variable in this, is that Mayweather is a boxer. It's only the movements that he's used to. McGregor can be pulling things out of mixed martial arts and adding them into the sport of boxing, because boxers don't train like that. They don't fight like that. When I went against some boxers back in the day, I used to box with some great boxers, Paul Littleton, Tim Skolnick, really big guys, small guys, in between. And I've experienced mixed martial artists, Muay Thai fighters, boxers, etc. And the thing about boxers is they know how to conserve their energy, because they're not moving around a whole bunch, running around, unless it's a lightweight. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
They've got that advantage. Whereas mixed martial artists, it's more explosive. You got to jump in the pocket, out of the pocket, et cetera, et cetera. And so you've got that energy consumption that could take a lot away from you. But you also have that variable of, oh shit, as a boxer, this is different. This is different than when I normally train. I don't normally have people jumping in and out and around the pockets and throwing, Superman punches and everything else. Not to mention the defense. The defense is different in mixed martial arts, okay? Because whereas you have a boxer like Mayweather, who stands right here like this, tucks behind his shoulder, blocks here over here with these big-ass gloves, mind you, right?
Yeah.
You've got this. That's a hard defense. That's a hard defense to get through. I use it sometimes too, because it's great. It's a great defense that not enough people utilize. But the thing is, with mixed martial arts, you can grab a hold of somebody's wrist. You know what I'm saying? So whereas you're right here, and this is blocking you, this is the hand that's blocking you all day. If a mixed martial artist comes in here and grabs your hand down and pops you in the face, what are you going to do, right? But that's a technique in boxing a little bit too, but it's underutilized in boxing. It's underutilized against Mayweather. And a lot of the reason is because people aren't like McGregor. Not every fighter is like McGregor. The best of the fighters are the ones who analyze their opponents, right? They don't fight a person. They don't even fight themselves. They fight that specific individual with the skills that you have, right? As a fighter, you have these specific skills, and you utilize those to be able to decapitate the plan of your opponent.
Yeah, and here's the one thing I see is I know that the Nevada State Athletic Commission, the executive director, I believe it was on the MMA Hour yesterday with Ariel Helwani, and he said that there are specific rules, like Conor can't feint with a leg kick. He can't act like he's going to do it to make him flinch and then come in with a left, which I think is honestly, and I know rules are rules and whatever else, but so was 10-ounce gloves, and that changed. But I think it's kind of not – I think it's fair that Conor McGregor signed on to do a boxing match. He signed on to do a boxing match, so he has to go by the boxing rules. I think if he doesn't make contact with a kick or a feint like a knee, that I think if it doesn't make contact, I would think that would be admissible. only because he's not making contact with the opponent.
Right.
But I think with what you said with Mayweather's defense, where he's got his left shoulder up and he's got his right hand here, that's fine. But like McGregor said, his shots break the guard, and I wouldn't be surprised if Mayweather puts up his hand, and when he tries to come over for that little pull you in and counter you, if McGregor doesn't slide him with the right hand and over the top. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's a counter to his counter, and you see that a few times in the first couple rounds, which honestly, the way that I think these rounds are going to go, I say Conor McGregor wins probably the first 2 to 3 at least. If he doesn't knock him out by the first 2 to 3, I say he wins the first few, because he'll have that. He has that ability. He doesn't – the great part is, like you said, he doesn't think like a boxer, which is great. And the guys who came at Mayweather with unconventional stuff in the past have, and especially Maidana, came with him with unconventional stuff, but he is a boxer. So Maidana's a boxer. So even with unconventional stuff, he can't necessarily come at him and keep that up. There's no way, because his mind keeps reverting back to boxing. With McGregor, it's how can I get around his hands to get to his face? How can I get around his hands? And I think even with the gloves on, and now that they're smaller gloves, more towards the hand size, I think that people are saying that Mayweather has fought most of his career in 8-ounce gloves. That's great. But if you get hit by a guy in the glove or by the glove with enough power that you've not seen before, that could shake you. And I'm not talking mentally, like physically, that could shake you. And I really think that, and I've been hit before, and I'm talking, I've been hit without gloves.
Yeah. What size gloves are they using again? 8 ounce.
Excuse me. Sorry about that. 8-ounce gloves. Yeah. They were supposed to have 10 and they moved down to 8. Now,
okay.
It's fine, but I also hear that, and I tried to look it up and I couldn't find it, about the fact that they're saying that 8-ounce gloves have less padding near the knuckles, a little less padding, which obviously with Conor McGregor's left and a setup right, if he's dangerous with both, but more dangerous with his left, as he's proven in his mixed martial arts career, I say that spells trouble for Mayweather, because he's trying to do it where, and if you watch the interview, I think it was the Kavanaugh interview, where I said that I think it's Mayweather's excuse. The reason he's saying he's old, the reason he's saying he's lost a step, is because if he loses, it's the old guy that got beat by the young guy. And if he wins, it's the, hey, look, the old guy, I still know what I'm doing, I prevailed. So he's trying to set himself up for a win-win situation in his own mind, because he's that delusional that he believes that a loss is still a win if he talks his way into it, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, when it comes to money, and not money Mayweather, but just, the art of making money, he's winning. Him and McGregor, they're winning regardless. And they might both be out of the sport after this. We'll see.
I think, honestly, as Coach Kavanaugh said yesterday, I think, honestly, Conor McGregor goes back into the octagon, maybe not for very long, maybe for 1 or 2 fights. But after making $100+ million and making his money he's made on his other fights and becoming that icon in the UFC already, and jumping up and avenging his loss to Diaz, and then coming back down and winning the lightweight title, and before that KOing Jose Aldo, who hadn't been beaten 10 years in 13 seconds, like, I think he really has that iconic status. And I think if he really wants to solidify it, I'll say this. Khabib says he will not fight, right, in the UFC. After this fight, I think Khabib comes out of his little shell to fight Conor, and I think he calls out Conor McGregor when he comes back, because Tony Ferguson, who really cares, honestly? I mean, they're going to have the interim title between him and I think it's Kevin Lee. That's great. But I believe Khabib is undefeated, correct? I think he's undefeated in his entire career.
Fighter, and I think, that would be a good fight.
Yeah, I think that would be the last fight you need, is to either defend or unify the title at lightweight and fight and defend it against Khabib. Maybe after that interim fight is over, they fight to unify, and then Khabib steps in and hopefully gets dismantled. I don't see that necessarily happening. I see it a drag-out fight, but hopefully gets dismantled by McGregor. And that would solidify him in 3 different weight classes to an extent, because Diaz is no joke. I mean, Nate Diaz is no joke when it comes to throwing. And the fact that he could get knocked down and keep coming at him for 5 straight rounds was pretty crazy. I'd
like to see a third. I'd like to see a third between.
Well, here's what I think should happen, honestly. I honestly think that for at welterweight, I think, and it's never going to happen, which is ridiculous to me, but if you really want to sell a welterweight fight between Diaz and McGregor, the part 3, the rubber match, you have to make sure that Diaz is a champion first. I really do. I think you need to set up in between the trilogy and now.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Diaz against Woodley. If Diaz wins, he would be the champion, and then Conor's rematch against him would be for the title.
Yeah,
I think that's.
I don't think he's beating Woodley.
I don't think he's beating Woodley either, but I know it's
Yeah.
kind of hoping against all hope there, but
Yeah, I mean, well, that's where it goes back to. It's interesting because one type of fighter could beat another type of fighter. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Woodley is just one of those guys who, will eat apart, the Diaz brothers. You know what I'm saying? He's got too strong of a base. He's got too strong of a takedown. He's not going to get really. I don't see him getting submitted.
No, but do you see him winning like by overall punching? If Diaz, like he did with McGregor, I think it was in the first fight, well, in a little bit in the second fight too.
Yeah,
he was like evading a lot of his heavy throws and then countering and hitting him right in the face. So and then kicking him in the stomach. So I'm like, would that be a problem for Woodley, who is a stocky up top guy? Is it a problem? And if he shoots to take down Diaz, does Diaz cause problems for him on the ground?
Yeah, I mean that's the way that he would win is by some type of submission. But I see Woodley as having too good of a base as a wrestler. His power is too explosive. Diaz, both those guys can take punches, but you're talking about somebody who's just a tank, man. This.
Well, and that's the thing is I like Tyron Woodley, but he's not invincible.
No, he's been knocked out.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think honestly, I didn't agree with the first Wonder Boy Thompson fight. The decision to award him and then say it was a draw was complete BS. But and then he came back out and he won the second fight. So he's like, okay, well, you think it's a draw the first fight? Okay, well, I'm going to win the second fight.
Yeah.
And I think that, he's not invincible and somebody will come along and I don't know who it's going to be. I mean, maybe it's,
me.
Yeah, maybe it's somebody like you, or maybe it's, like I was going to say, like a Khabib maybe going up or a Tony Ferguson going up in weight to challenge him.
Yeah.
But for this Maymack fight, sorry, I'm getting a little off topic here. For the Maymack fight and the press conference that happened, and the fact that Mayweather was trying to make it seem like Conor McGregor was really racist and that he was trying to call him boy as in a white guy to a black guy and calling, and he said that he called him a monkey, but that wasn't true. It was actually, and I mean, come on, I'm a huge sports guy and we're both huge, combat sports fans. So, I watched all the press conferences and the guys he's talking to are both white, like Italian guys. And he calls them both juice head monkeys and points at them because they tried to intimidate him like the day before at the press conference. So it had nothing to do with a race.
Oh, yeah, the security guards, right?
Yeah, the security guards, the Voltron Power Rangers, as he said.
Yeah, it's all interesting. The whole thing's interesting because you've got two people who really aren't going to back down to each other. Now it hasn't been like McGregor's other competitions. You know what I'm saying? They're all very headstrong and they're all not going to crumble under one another. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. A lot of it's been mind games too between the two of them. Like I've been following this not super closely, but I've been following it. And I saw the Jimmy Kimmel show and all that, and where Mayweather was saying, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be an offensive fighter. Bullshit.
You haven't been an offensive fighter since the 90s.
Right. So, but it's gonna be interesting because that puts McGregor on the offense, right? So he's gonna come in. Mayweather's gonna bob and weave and do his thing, and he's gonna throw some attacks back. Now at that point, McGregor is a defensive fighter. He finds those opportunities, but Mayweather's so fast, so we might see. And the thing is, I could see your prediction happening. Here's why: because 8-ounce gloves, they're not that big. You know what I'm saying? If McGregor comes in offensively, which will happen, and Mayweather ends up, I'm sorry, I think I mixed it up. If McGregor comes in offensively like we think he will, and Mayweather is very defensive like we think he will be, and he starts throwing these return shots on McGregor, that's going to open things up. McGregor might land one of those. With those 8-ounce gloves, that's not very much. You know what I'm saying? Like, guys, we spar with 14-ounce gloves, and you can feel it. You know what I'm saying? If you get a solid shot, you can feel it. So you take that and you divide it in half, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, that's that you can feel that for sure. That's I'm not sure how big my sparring gloves are for MMA, but I think they're somewhere around there. You know, they're somewhere around there, and you can definitely feel that. Yeah.
Well, and like Brennan Schaub was saying for the Fighter and the Kid podcast, he was saying, you know, in MMA we spar with 10-ounce gloves or 12-ounce gloves or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's what they're trying to make him fight in. And it's like, okay, so he's used to it. And now for this, he was sparring in 16-ounce gloves. Now they're about to cut the official glove size in half. Like, come on, you're going to spar with double the size of what you're about to go in there with?
Yeah.
It's just going to increase his hand speed. And the thing is, it's not just about volume. And that's the one thing I think people are they want to latch on, not yourself, but I see a lot of social media and radio personalities latching on to Mayweather, saying by volume of punches, he'll outpunch McGregor and land a decision win. It's not like that, though. It's not going to be. I know McGregor said precision beats power, but in this case, unfortunately, he has both. He has the precision and the power against Mayweather. And I think he's going to take full advantage of that. I think he's going to, whether it's to the body a couple times maybe, but I guarantee you won't see him go to the body very much on Saturday. He'll go straight to the head. And then when Mayweather figures out, okay, well, I got to either stay my regular against the ropes or I got to try to do something else, then it'll become a boring fight for a couple of rounds because you'll see him start to run. And then when the crowd starts to boo, he'll get in there and try to counterpunch. And I think that's when, like you said, that's when McGregor takes his head off because it'll be that pressure. No, he's not under. He says he's not under pressure because he's making so much money, and that's great.
Yeah.
But if your undefeated record and having the all-time record at 50-0 is jeopardized or ended, your quest is ended by a guy who's never had a professional boxing fight, that tells you something. That I think tells you something about Mayweather as a boxer, and it also tells you something about the drive of a guy who's never had a professional boxing fight, saying, "Look, I'm going to make history. I'm going to rake in the millions on the way in, but guess what? I'm going to make history. You know why? Because I believe I can, and I've had it set in my mind since day one. This is where I'm going to go with my life and my career, and guess what? I've done it all." They said I couldn't do it all. Now I've done it. Well, they say I can't beat this guy. He doesn't even fucking think I can beat him. But I'm going to put him on his ass. And that's the thing. I guess I can't explain it. And I guess I identify, and I hate to say this like this, but I identify with a certain type of crazy, and a certain type of like a fixation on something. And I can see it in his eyes. He's got that fixation. And I don't think that drive that he has, I don't think that goes anywhere else but knocking him out. I really don't. I don't think it goes to decision. I don't think McGregor is stupid enough to let it go to decision, to be honest with you. I really don't. I don't think, and like you said, he's a mixed martial artist, but what do you think he is first? A boxer. He strikes. Most of his takedowns, I think all of his knockouts in the UFC so far have been by fists. I don't think I've seen one yet that have been by feet.
Like 18 knockouts or something like that. Pretty crazy.
Most by fists.
Yeah, he's a boxer. He knows how to box for sure. I mean, he came in with boxing skills and he utilized them, and that's what made him, a hit sensation, just like Tyson or whatever else. I mean, you're putting dangerous size gloves on this man. You know what I'm saying? And so that does kind of even out the scales of this fight. You know what I'm saying? So,
why is it dangerous though? See, this is the thing. This is why I want to.
It's dangerous. It's not dangerous for McGregor. McGregor's got a chin. Mayweather, we don't know that. You know what I'm saying? And these are smaller gloves. He's not a knockout artist.
Right, but it's scary. I think it's scary to Mayweather people that bet on Mayweather. I think it's only scary because they realize they can say all they want that Mayweather, has fought all his life and on most of his career in 8-ounce gloves. But I think, like you realize just like I do, McGregor's got the power to put him away. Yeah. That's the biggest difference. McGregor has that power to put him away.
He does.
And that's why people are scared, I think.
Yeah, not only that, but besides the power, he's got the precision. Just like, going back to the fighter training set, it's step 3. If you throw that sucker on and you try to hit that ball as it's flying around all over the place, you realize you can bench 350, 400 pounds, but if you don't have the accuracy to actually hit your target, then that doesn't help very much,
Right.
So,
and here's the last thing I wanted to talk about real quick here. I wanted to talk about the odds and the way the odds have been sliding, and I have the exact number, so we don't have to do any research on your end for them. But
okay.
you had Mayweather starting out at a plus or at a minus 2,500. Okay, this is when they first broke. Right before the match was official, plus or minus 2,500, and McGregor was like plus 1,100. Okay, The match was official, and now it went down to I think it was plus 1,000. Right, all the way to today, where it's Tuesday, the Tuesday before the fight. Mayweather is plus or a minus 400, and McGregor is only plus 300 right now. He has went from plus 11 to plus 3. That's a hell of a shrink and I think they realize because people are betting so heavily on McGregor in this fight. They say the Las Vegas Sportsbook reported that 95% of the bets made are on McGregor.
Really?
95% of the bets made so far to yesterday, okay? To yesterday. Because the article was written on Monday. Up to yesterday, 95.5 is the way it's swinging. And they don't want to go broke. So they made it so that he is only a plus 300. He's only a 3-1 favorite now. And I'm almost glad that I couldn't go to Vegas.
Betting odds are 3-1.
Yeah, betting odds are 3-1. And McGregor and Mayweather is what would that be if it's a minus 400? That'd be 1-4?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so they've went all the way from realizing they thought people were going to bet on Mayweather at the high price. Even though it started lowering, they still thought people were going to bet on him. And now they're realizing, yes, there are bets. There are big bets on him. And probably this week they said there's going to be some really big bets on Mayweather. And they hope that kind of evens out, in a way, the money that is being bet and placed on McGregor. And I don't think it will. I think people realize, look, how am I going to cash in on this? Well, betting on McGregor. How am I going to make my money? Betting on McGregor. Not Mayweather, not the guy who dances around the ring, the guy that possibly could come in with one left hand could put him on his ass.
Yeah.
And I hope that happens. I hope everybody gets paid, but I hope Vegas isn't broke after this.
Yeah. That's crazy. I didn't know those betting odds changed that much. I bet on the odds. You know what I'm saying? So for something like this, it might be worth putting some money on Mayweather after all. But,
if he sinks, by Friday, by the weigh-in, he could easily be a minus 350. He really could. He could be a minus 350 by weigh-in on Friday. So, and then McGregor is already plus 300. He's only a 3-1 odds. So, it could shrink all the way down to 2-1 odds by Friday or Saturday. So, I'm almost glad that I couldn't place my bet online at a booking site or whatever, because they would have taken some of my money and I was only going to place $100, and it went from where I could have won $600 or $700 at the time that I was going to place the bet to now I can only win $300. So I like that my best
time to process or something like that.
Yeah, take time to process, and then some of the betting sites, most of the betting sites take a percentage of what of your winnings if you win. So And obviously, if you lose, you just bet your $100 and you're out the $100. But if you win, they take a percentage. And I'm like, well, I'm not willing to do that. And it was almost worth it to do it because it was 600. It was 6-1 at the time. Now it's 3-1, and it could possibly be even less or slimmer odds at fight night. So, I'm glad.
I know they started 11-1. I was going to throw some money on McGregor at that point. I was like 11-1. I'm like, are you serious? All right.
You might as well throw $200 on McGregor at that point. But
I mean, with that type of return, shit, why not?
but see, here's the thing: if you still throw that same 200 on him right now, you'll win $600.
600.
You'll win 600 if you throw 200 on him. So I'm fortunately going to just bet my 100 to my best man that's going to be there at the fight, and I'll put my 100. He'll put his 100 up, and I'll take it from him gladly when and if McGregor knocks out Mayweather.
All right. That'll be a good one.
For you, what do you see? What do you see for the future of the fighter training set, and what do you see for your future mixed martial arts there? What is it that you're trying to accomplish?
Yeah, right now I'm just kind of focusing on myself as far as getting the structure down for the rest of my life, the foundation, so to speak. So, as the fighter training set, I want to get it worldwide. I had it worldwide on Amazon, but to have something actually be worldwide and to actually have it out there so it can go worldwide is two different things. So I'm figuring out the whole marketing thing of it and whatnot, but I'm keeping myself busy with some other businesses as well. So right now that's my focus. While I get through this physical therapy, etc., from the car accident I was in. But, once that's all done and dealt with and I'm feeling good again, I'll definitely get back to training and, keep up with the love of the sport.
So for people that don't know and haven't seen our previous interview together, where can people find you? Like if they want to get a hold of you on social media, see about the fighter training set, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, sure. Instagram. We're on Instagram for sure. So find us on there, fightertrainingset.com.
Okay.
That's where you find the fighter training set. And,
okay.
That's where I'm at.
And I will put down there, is it fighter training set on Instagram?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Fighter training set. Hey, actually, you know what? I think you can find me under either fighter training set or my name.
Okay.
Brax, first name Matt, and that works too.
So I will put the fightertrainingset.com. I will put that in the description of this YouTube video here for the interview.
Nice.
So
appreciate that.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to go ahead and check that out, definitely go check it out. It will be in the description here. But definitely don't forget to give this a like and a share. And if you feel like it, hit subscribe. This has been Matt the Axe Brax. I'm Pat Voss. We will see you guys later on. I'll be ready. We've got a couple more interviews for you. We're trying to get William Wilson on. He's an MMA, another mixed martial artist. We had Ross Edmonds on last week. We have Amir Tubad Gray, the entertainment guru out of New Orleans. He's stopping by on Thursday. And we'll see you for fight night on Saturday. I will be live tweeting along with the fights, so definitely check me out at Just Chill Truth on Twitter. That link is on my channel art here on YouTube. I'll see you guys later. It's JCT Official. Bitch, I wanna party like